don't be scared of your stories. Don't be scared of things that have happened in your past because it can heal actually your relationships now. It can move relationships forward. And you also get to then help other people with your trauma, your addiction, your struggles. It's been the best thing I've ever done, honestly.
You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast, baby, because we got one heck of a super special, awesome guest for you today, because my goodness, this show has become a magnet for super special, awesome humans, and thanks to my good buddy, Jason, the Sensation LaChance, he hooked me up with one heck of a guest. Let me tell you a little bit about her, because my goodness, we got a Hollywood actress, writer, producer, and director, not to mention a wonderful wife and a mother who is also can be seen in so many areas. My goodness, like you've probably caught her in the past on the History Channel, Series 6, heck, maybe even the film Jar, heck, maybe even in True Blood. Like, my goodness, and her resume is probably as long as the Great Wall of China. And to make it even better and not butter, she's joined the business of immortality because she is also a fellow bookcaster, folks. That's right, because she's had over a decade of recovery as a sex and love addict, and thanks to her life experience, she is now the host of the popular personal journals podcast series Secret Life, and she also has a wonderful book as well that she also read, so you'll get to hear her voice beyond the next few moments. You're going to be hearing her voice. Let's give it up for the fabulous, super special, awesome BD herself, the wonderful, beautiful, and daring Brianne Davis. How you doing today, Brianne?
I'm good. That is the best intro ever. I wish you could follow me around and like say that because I sound so cool. Cooler than I am. I love it.
Oh, don't worry. You're cooler than two cucumbers. It's okay.
Okay, thanks.
That's right. Folks are like, cooler than a cucumber. Nah, we got to change that. We got to think big. Think two cucumbers.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Even though I don't really like cucumbers, but sure, let's go with that.
uh, I'm guessing even in the past lives of sex addict, no cucumber love, huh?
No. Ooh, dirty dirt.
Yeah, I should have saw that one coming.
Right. I set myself up for that.
Oh, man. But hey, the conversation ain't about cucumbers, it's about you. So, are there any other cavities I may have missed that you mind filling in for the folks listening?
Well, right now I'm on Lucifer's on Hulu, Lucifer season 5. That's out right now. And then a show on Netflix called The Secret Life of Celebrity Surrogate. So that's playing right now. You can go watch it. And 6 is I think it's on Hulu right now as well. But yeah, no, you hit everything. Like I said, I sounded really, really cool. So thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure indeed. My pleasure indeed. Because the thing is, like, in today's, well, then again, just today period, the times that we're in, it's interesting times, and addictions are out there in all sorts of forms and vices and whatnot, and like sex addiction, you like overcoming that and dealing with that and really being on the other side of it, like, and now in this point now where you're really getting out there to speak about it and adding another dimension to all the work that you're doing. Like, definitely gotta highlight that and like let folks know if they may be going through it themselves and they don't want to be open about it, or for folks just need to be informed about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why I wrote the book and I came out and did the podcast and wrote articles in Cosmo UK and HuffPost and all this because we do not talk about being addicted to people. You know, I like to say I love to snort and drink people. I like to use other people's validation, attention, flirting, intrigue, you know, all that stuff to give me my worth. And when that high would go away, or the butterflies would go away, or the game, as people say, you know, that push pull game of love, I then didn't know how to have intimacy with another flawed human being. So what I would do is then go search for the next person that would fulfill me, be my soulmate, and all. And it was on and on and on. And that's why I spoke out, because not many women come out as sex addicts or sex and love addicts. And it's always a man cheating on his wife, then, you know, going to rehab. And I was so sick of that narrative on top of this younger generation that is struggling with intimacy, struggling with commitment, having their sexuality being over sexualized, the porn accessibility, all of that is destroying our connection with our own intimacy and all of that. So that's why I spoke out. It wasn't really for me. I have now 12 years of recovery in Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And I really did it to be of service to other people. I wrote the book for other people. I didn't write it for me. So, yeah, I'm all for bringing out awareness because I'm a sex and love addict and I've never had a one night stand. I haven't had many sexual partners for my age. You can be a sex addict when you use your sexuality to manipulate and control and have power over other people. So, I'm trying to change the narrative and like a mother at home with 3 kids can be a sex and love addict, you know, an A-list celebrity can be a sex and love addict, a janitor, a CEO. It doesn't matter where you come from or your background, but if you're always looking outside of yourself to get your worth and validation and live in fantasy and have unrealistic expectations of relationships in your life, you might have this problem.
Ah, powerful indeed. Well, congrats on preteen status, 12 years.
Yeah,
That's
thank
what I'm
you.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about. 12, soon to be 21 and plus over. She's going to have a long life and a long career and
Yeah.
definitely going to be keep doing the darn thing. And it's good that you're actually doing that and it's good you're taking it from that perspective because, yeah, like we're in the era of instant gratification, just the
Mm.
access to stuff. Heck, even with some of the stuff that some of the folks that are on the extra young side of the game that's really that folks have access to, just hearing some of the conversations out of nowhere, especially during my time sometimes the day job as a librarian with some of the teens that come in. It's like, okay,
Ooh,
yeah,
yes. They are
yeah.
so disconnected. I mean, even they sit in front of each other and not really talk to each other. And that disconnection is bleeding into their love lives, is bleeding into every
Mhm.
relationship. We are on an epidemic coming up for this younger generation. They are incapable, and especially young boys, you know, seeing porn at 6, 7, 8, having that accessibility to the internet. I mean, I have a son that's 3.5 years old. I am well aware that those images can destroy his intimacy and become impotent. And I've worked with a lot of young boys and they are having trouble. And women, young girls are having this unrealistic expectation of what sex looks like because of porn, seeing that, trying to emulate that. And that's fantasy. And I grew up with none of that. And I became a sex and love addict. I grew up as a latchkey kid where I saw movies that I shouldn't have seen. Like my favorite movie, and I write about in the book, is Romeo and Juliet. So my perception of what real love looks like is you got to drink some poison or stab yourself if you really love me. Like that's how it has to go. Like there has to be all this drama. Our families have to hate each other. We have to be like struggling to be together. Like it's so ridiculous. So yeah, I'm here to break the narrative. And if I have to be the face right now, even though I'm not the face, I'm just an addict talking to other people that might have this problem, then I'm for it because it saved my life. I'm married now. I have a kid. I never wanted those things. I never thought I could commit to another person. And so I wanted to write a book where people could learn about it, but also be entertained.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because some folks love drama. They will love the book, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, right? We were just talking about that. I was like, don't say anything until you hit record. Like, but I wanted to start out with a bang. Did I do it? Did I like get you right away?
Oh yeah, you did. Like Hall & Oates Man Eater popped in my head.
Oh my God. Do you know that chapter I wrote the most? Chapter 1 was the chapter I wrote. It took me the longest to do rewrites and edit and everything. And like, it was the hardest one out of all of them.
Wow. Okay. Well, then again, considering all that was in it, kind of a no surprise. So, what's probably the most difficult part about writing that? Because I know it's a fictional tale, but really not so much fiction.
Well, the whole book, surprisingly, I wrote the first draft of it in 45 days. I was taking a
Nice.
writing class and it literally came just on the page, like 45 days. And it was pure memoir when I first wrote it. But during the rewriting process and with the editor, all these other like my imagination started to come into play. Being an actor for 20 years, a working actor, writing it like a film or a television series. And also, people I know, their stories I put in. So I just kept putting everything in because I wanted to make the reader be able to get into the mind of an addict, not just my story, but anybody's story. So anybody can pick it up and go, I've done that. I've thought of doing that. I almost did that. My best friend did that. My mom did that. Like, and that's what I wanted. So you can get into, this addict's head. She doesn't know she's an addict and has a problem with relationships. And you get to go with her on a journey the first year of her recovery and see how difficult it is. And I really, really wanted to make that apparent. Like getting rid of this addiction, especially if you're addicted to a toxic person, going back to bad relationships, having a fantasy of what a relationship should look like, being in a long-term marriage that you're asexual and sexually anorexic. Like I wanted people to read it and go, oh, maybe I can use this tool and get out of my behavior that is actually killing me and
Mm.
making me disconnect from my reality. And, I think I hopefully did a great job of doing that. And I didn't want you to like her because you don't like addicts. And sometimes I want you to like her and then I don't want you to like her. Some people only could read to chapter 2 and they're like, I hate her. I hate Roxanne. And I'm like, I want you to hate her. you know, I do. I want you to hate her and then see like when people hurt people, when people do horrible things, it's because they're hurt. And that you have to have empathy and compassion for people that are struggling in this world. Anytime I interact with someone and they're in a bad mood, I know 99% of the time that has nothing to do with me. I've done the work and I can have compassion and empathy for
You can say that again. Yeah,
them.
because Roxanne, definitely a character I was not a fan of, but I will admit, though, there was a little glimmer of hope apart in there where it's like, oh, I mean, it's like, oh, she's kind of a demon, but she actually has a heart. She actually let
Yeah.
somebody go.
Yeah, I mean that first chapter, it starts out with her getting caught in her lies, but it's like how many times have you seen people do that when they're dating two people and they kind of like overlap them or like are not completely honest, and especially in this dating world with dating apps and everything. So I wanted somebody to read it and go, "Oh my god, am I having one foot in a relationship and one foot out and not being completely honest?" And not being completely honest with myself. Am I holding on to this person because I'm scared to be alone? And I wanted that journey to be in that first chapter where there was a lot of cringeworthy moments where you're like, oh, that's not good. Oh, and you get to hear the internal thoughts of Roxanne and why she does the things she does. But then through the whole journey of the year, you get to see, oh, chapter 5, 6, and 7, these things happen to her. Yes, it's not her fault. She was a victim to these, but now it's her responsibility to unpack this baggage and right her wrongs.
Oh yeah, definitely say that again. It also even shows why we're better together. Because if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the proper name for it when she joined the group. Sponsor. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Alice.
With-
Alice, our sponsor, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, since that wasn't a real name, was the Ask Alex Alex. Was the Ask Alice series the inspiration behind the name of that sponsor?
No, actually, that's close to my sponsor's name. So
Oh.
it was like a nod to I've had two sponsors. So it was like a nod between them because they're very like similar. So I picked a name similar. And then all the other names are obviously changed because I could get sued. So I had to change
Mhm.
everybody's name. And I wanted to give fun names like Superstar, or Cool Girl, or Tattoo Girl. And I wanted to give the people that were sober and doing the work and living in reality, especially the sponsor, especially Dr. Kath, I wanted to give them real names to honor that they've went through the process of looking at their flaws and trying to be better.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Well, there we go, folks. Giving that nods to people that have really helped you to get further in life than you would on your own. Because my goodness, like just some of the stories, because I got up to around chapter, I'd say 5 in the audiobook, and then just listening to some of the stories. And I will admit, some of them are kind of laugh out loud funny too. It's kind of. I won't go into details of which, but yeah, definitely some good stuff in there.
There is. That audiobook was torture to record, just so you know. It was pure torture. When they told me I had to record it, I was like, "What are you talking about? We can get an actor. Let's get an actor." And everybody looked at me like, "You're an actor and you're the author. Like, you're gonna do the audiobook." And I was like, "No, I'm not. Like, I'm not doing it." It was so uncomfortable. Please listen to the audiobook because it was like, I wanted to crawl out of my skin. If you could imagine saying all those things in front of a sound people, like, and it took like so many hours. It was horrible, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. You enjoyed my discomfort. I'm so happy about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right. Because the thing is, like, sound recording, reading your own book. It's like, yeah, I can read, yeah, I can speak, but it's like, oh no,
Oh,
it's an actual performance. Like, it
yeah.
requires actual stamina. My goodness, I'm like looking back on because I've done an audiobook project for a past guest and two
Yeah.
of my own, and it's definitely uphill. Like, it's definitely uphill. Heck, and I guess in your case, it probably was extended love scene in the rain, probably.
Oh, it was torture. I can't even tell you. It was like I had to breathe. I was doing this breathing thing like and then I would like read it and then try to get it out. And I cried so much. And it was interesting when I got done with it. It was like that last bit of like anything kind of just evaporated. Like it wasn't aware of how much that healing process was. Like writing it was really healing for me. Coming out and doing the PR and the press was really healing. And it was like it came full circle kind of. And now when I listen to it, I love it. I'm like really proud of myself.
Ah, good, you should, because you did freaking great. Freaking
Thank you.
great. That's right. One of the best things about an author reading their own book, you get to feel their passion for the actual stories. That's
Oh.
right. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so what was it like having to relive that multiple times since you drafted the book as a memoir at first, then had to change the names and make it more of a novel, then doing the audiobook process? Like, do you feel like that has even made you even more stronger today, or was it even more challenging going through all that all over again multiple times?
I think that it made me stronger, honestly, because anybody can say anything to me. And I think that's the beauty of getting recovery first under your belt, like over a decade of recovery where no one can take it from anybody can say anything to me and it rolls off my back. And it's just then like putting myself out there and being in the public eye already as a working actor and then putting the book out there. I definitely had a moment where I was like, what am I doing? I'm ruining my life, my career. No one's ever going to hire me again. Like I will be living on the street. Like I don't know what I'm doing is and then I just had to like trust this is my process. This is where I am. And as soon as the HuffPost article came out, it was like that last bit of stigma and shame just evaporated. And now it's like I get to be of service to the world on a bigger level. I have been of service in my community of Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, which there's 30 million of us in the United States. 38% of them are women. It's huge. That was in 2017 statistic. Now it's huge. Like we're all over the world. We have meetings in Australia, London, everywhere. Like there was a meeting in Dubai, and my sponsee went to one in Bali, which is crazy
Oh,
to me.
wow.
Yeah, like crazy. So now putting out the book is just like I now get to help people. And the best part is every day I wake up, I get emails saying, wow, thank you so much. Now I know I'm not alone. I'm not broken. I just didn't get the tools to have healthy relationships. Your book really helped me, or my partner's a sex and love addict. And I see like, there's nothing I can do to be good enough for them to stop. So I'm helping both sides of the aspect of the disease. And it's just like, probably the best thing I've ever done. And now my recovery is even stronger. I mean, to this day, I go to 14 meetings a week.
Oh,
I
wow.
pray every night. I meditate. Well, I'm not great at meditating, but I do as best as I can. But then I'm like, gratitude list. Where can I be of service? I give people information. So I think the book has like completely taken me to another level of serenity and peace and taking away my ego. And now I'm in rewrites for book 2. Roxanne there's 3 other books being drafted right now. So it's like a 4-book series following Roxanne and her journey. And I'm really grateful to share that with people.
Oh, wow. Okay. So trilogy slash, wow. Okay. 4 magical books then, huh? That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I'm betting you're looking forward to those vocal performances too, aren't you?
Oh, don't even tell me that. I actually was like, I'm not going to do any more books. And they all were like, yes, you are. Like, no, 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 don't make me. It's
There's no
horrible.
escape.
Horrible,
No escape.
especially chapter 5, 6, and 7. The one, looking back at the why, letting everything burn, the compare and despair, my main character defect. I'll have to say, all those character defects in chapter 6 are mine. I will say that. I will own it. And chapter 7, the compare and despair, was really difficult. My favorite chapter was chapter 8. I don't know if you got to it yet. It's with Superstar and Cool Girl and the Hotel Bel Air. Oh, that was the best chapter to write. I
Okay.
laughed so much in that one.
Oh, I can't wait to get to chapter 8 then. This will be
Oh
extra
my
good.
God. You have to let me know what you think. You're going to lose it. You'll lose your shit. I promise. I had a woman tell me she was listening into it in Target while buying diapers, and that she bursted out laughing in the middle of the aisle, thinking people could hear what I was saying on the audiobook.
Well, there you go. Yep.
Mhm.
More of a reason why I got to read the upcoming books that you write too.
Exactly. It goes there. I wanted it to go there. I wanted you to get really uncomfortable. I wanted you to be turned on, get really uncomfortable, feel really bad about her. All those emotions that we have when we deal with like feelings we don't want to feel. So I wanted the audience to read it and go, "Ooh, oh, like had to have all the emotions."
Oh yeah, the whole roller coaster. That's right.
Exactly. That's why I say it's a gnarly, gnarly roller coaster ride. The book is.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Well, I guess your whole life's kind of been a roller coaster in a way, because
Mhm.
my goodness, because growing up, did you ever see yourself as becoming a published author at all?
No, I'm dyslexic. I have ADHD. I was terrible in English. So when, this book was coming to fruition, my husband, it was actually his idea. He was like, "Hey, there's this writing course." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I barely graduated high school. I didn't go to college." Like, I have no problem saying that. And it's like, I'm a published author that it hit bestseller. Like anybody can do anything. So if you out there are struggling or have a story or something that you believe needs to be told, just do it. You can do anything. So no, I never thought that. I still have trouble. When I was practicing for the audiobook, I looked at my husband because I was like practicing out loud, and I said, "Ooh, this is really good." Like, and he looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, I know you wrote it." I was like, "Yeah, I don't feel." He's like, I was like, "I don't feel like I did. I don't. It doesn't feel like I did it for me. I did it to help other people. So it still doesn't completely feel like mine, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely can understand that piece. And that's the thing too, because with the stories that were used, since you're now 12 plus years and counting
Mhm.
from the addiction, separated from it, and in the recovery, it's like you're still tapping into that Brienne of the past, or in this case, the Roxanne of the past. And it's like you're a totally different person now as opposed to then. And it's like, oh, this is like a totally different person because I'm a totally different person. And in a couple of
Yeah.
years, if someone buys your book and like, hey, all the freaking book you wrote a few years ago, it's like, oh yeah, especially this line right here, like, oh, thanks, I forgot I wrote that.
Totally. Totally, but there's something where you do it and you write the stories and you get it out there for other people, and then it's not mine anymore. And that feels really lovely to just be like, "Here you go. This is not mine anymore. You can have it now. I don't need those stories anymore." And then, I'm sure I'll go through it with book 2 where things are being brought up, the onions getting peeled. I'll look more at things I need to still work on because I'm a work in progress. I'm a flawed human like everybody else. I still get egotistical, narcissist, judgmental, jealous, all those things that I write about. And it's like, we are not alone, but I'm a better person. And I can put that in the next book and then give it away because it's not mine anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. The power of giving indeed. Power of giving
Mhm.
indeed. So my goodness, so with all the wonderful encouragement you have from your husband and other folks, I imagine any advice for those out there looking to write a memoir of their own, heck, even writing a book of their own, especially when it has to deal with stories like these that are gnarly.
Yeah. So here's my first advice that I don't think about who's ever going to read it. Like, just write it all down, put it all out there. The things that you are so embarrassed for your family to read, I tell you, just put them out there. There's something about putting them on the paper that gets them out of yourself, and you get to heal in that process. And then my mom read this book the day it came out. She read it in a day. I kid you not. And here's the beautiful thing. I was really worried about it because a lot of my past, I talk about my parents not being the best parents at times and doing the best they can with what they had and the damage some of it has caused. And so when my mom said she wrote it and she called me on FaceTime, she was bawling. I was like, oh shit. Like, because it doesn't at times paint her in the best picture. And I kind of try to remind her it's fiction, it's fiction. It's based on real life, but there's other things I had to amplify for drama and stuff. People don't know what's really your story or my story or our story or whatever. So she called and she was crying and she said two things to me. And she said, for the first time, I actually understand your addiction after 10 years. Like, it was this
Mm,
beautiful moment where she just like showed up for me because it's hard for a parent to see their child as an addict. And then the second thing she said is, and I've done some of the same things you've done. And
oh,
I was like, in shock, and it was very hard for me to take in, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. That means so much, mom. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed the book." And we got off FaceTime, and I was like, I started bawling because to actually be seen by your mom,
Mm,
I've come from a dysfunctional family, which a lot of people have, and to actually be seen for your mom and accepted and all the darkness that's put in this book, that she could see me and then also identify. It was just a beautiful healing moment. So I say, don't be scared of your stories. Don't be scared of, things that have happened in your past because it can heal actually your relationships now. It can move relationships forward. And you also get to then help other people with your trauma, your addiction, your struggles. It's been the best thing I've ever done, honestly.
yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about indeed. And it's actually more beautiful too. It's like as we age, if we are lucky still of our parents as we age, and heck, even in cases like these where you get to share parts of yourself and they find out, it's like, oh, crap. Wow. All right. So that's how she turned out. Oh, darn. I had some tools, and I guess used a screwdriver for a hammer situation. My bad.
Totally. But here's the thing, then doing all this work, I got to see that like generations and generations addiction ran in my family that I didn't know about. And it was like great grandfather was an alcoholic. And then every generation adapted it in a different way, became a workaholic, an overeater. And for me, I just became addicted to sex and love and to fantasy and not living in reality. And so it goes different ways, but it's healed so many parts of my family. I can't believe it. I was actually in shock.
Ah, there you go. That's why I
Mhm.
got that bow in your head, 'cause you a gift. That's what
Yeah,
I'm talking about. That's
totally.
what I'm talking about.
I said my inner child's here to play, so I wore a bow.
That's what I'm talking about. So sweet. So my goodness, you've been on this interview tour talking about the book, heck, even promoting your podcast too. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually recorded a year's worth of content before you lost it, right?
Well, yeah, I recorded 140 episodes of Secret Life podcast before we launched it because I just wanted to make sure that a lot of our stories were people, all over the world. Most of our guests are anonymous. We changed their names. 80% of them are mostly anonymous, 75%. And we got so many people outreaching. My first anonymous caller that in was this woman, and her name's Kristen, and she lived in New York, and she shot herself in the chest with a shotgun because she couldn't reach perfectionism. And her life on the outside was so beautiful, and inside she was like dying spiritually. And she walks me through the process of that secret she carried, and then how it almost destroyed her and killed her. And I just knew from the moment we recorded that we were onto something. So it just like I was recording 4 to 5 episodes a day, and we just have them in. So we've released 75 episodes, Secret Life podcast, and we have about 80 left, I think. 80. Yeah.
Oh wow. So do you think you're gonna continue with that one?
I hope so. I mean, I already have some for the new year to record, but we have enough for another year and a half. So we'll see. Every day we make a decision to be of service. My husband and I, he has 33 years in AA, and we do everything to be of service now. So if people still enjoy it and it's getting, the buzz it's getting, then we will keep turning them out to help other people. Again, we do it to help other people. It's not really for us.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But I was just talking about like in terms of news stories past the 80. Do you feel like after it gets closer to after the end of next year, I guess, well, this year, technically when folks are probably hearing this 2022, do you think you may record more as it goes along since you keep getting so much positive feedback for it? And if I'm not mistaken, you won an award for it, right?
Yeah, no, we did. But yeah, I will. I've already starting to, people are, because you can reach out now, Secret Life Podcast at iCloud.com, and let me know your secret, or it's past, present secret. And you know, if it's a story that we haven't told, we're going to tell it. So if they keep showing up, we'll keep telling the stories. Yeah, it's important to me to be of service. And that's one way for me to be of service is to help people. It's not about me or my guest. It's about the listener that doesn't have a voice or doesn't want to voice that shame or stigma they're going through.
Definitely say that again. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's how you live right there in a life of
Right.
service, indeed. That's right. Breaking them generational curses, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. In this case,
No,
generational
totally.
addictions.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game?
Oh my God, that's a good question. um, I don't know. I mean, I think, just the question of like, I have no idea. I think people ask what the hardest job is for me because I've been an actor for so long, and I wrote that in the book about being a working actor, what it actually looks like, because we only hear about the A-list celebrities. So I put a ton of stories in there of what it's like to be a working actor and how shitty it is at times and how debilitating, and you're up one day, down the next. And so I put that in there, and people say, directing or producing or podcasting or writing the book, like, what's the hardest job? And I always have to say, being a mom is the hardest job being a human on this planet, but then being a mom. So if I can help myself not go into my addiction and then help it not go down to the generation of my son, and having boundaries and letting my son feel his feelings and showing him how to feel a feeling, then I've done my job. But the hardest job is being a mother, I would say. That's what people don't ask me all the time.
Uh, oh, okay then. Yeah, I definitely can understand that piece, and because yeah, moms do have it rough because it's a tough job within
It
itself
is a
raising a
tough job.
tiny. Yeah, exactly. It's like a tiny human. I have to make sure it stays alive and becomes
Right.
successful.
And being an addict. So I'm an addict. And then I have a tiny human to take care of. And those tiny humans trigger you. They trigger your past. They bring up issues. But here's the thing, I can't imagine being a parent and not having recovery and the tools. And then that gave me even more empathy for my parents that didn't have the tools, that didn't have therapy for 8 years, twice a week, that didn't go to a 12-step room or have recovery or work with somebody. So yeah, it really helped me heal that generational trauma that I had to work on.
Ah, yeah. So do you believe you had a son first, kind of like how they say with the guys who are players growing up, punishment is them having a daughter. In your case, in reverse, having a son.
I probably, probably to see, but that's what learned. I grew up thinking men didn't have feelings and that they always took what they wanted. And I actually wanted to be a guy. Like, I was like, "Ooh, that seems interesting to be a guy, not to like have to have your feelings and not to put on a show. Everything, is men, right now still run the world." So I always wanted to do that. And I think having a son now and letting him, teaching him about kindness and that he doesn't run the show. He's a worker among workers on this planet. He's no better than anybody else. I don't want an entitled child. I don't want a child where he fills me. If mommy's having a bad day, give me a hug. It's not my son's responsibility to make my day better or to give me a hug, and to allow him to have his feelings and go through that process instead of trying to fix it to make it better for him. And it's like, I want to give him the tools that I didn't get. And I think God definitely played a trick giving me a son. Because if my son ever hooked up, or like if he likes girls or whatever, like if a girl like me, I'd be like, run, get away from her. She's broken right now. Get away from her. So who knows? He's only 3.5. So if he starts dating, I'm sure I'll have some issues come up. Like, I'm like trying to like see, like, is she an addict? Is she, like, who is this? Or if he's attracted to who knows? It's funny.
Yeah, just see a random
Karma.
place.
That's karma. That's what we call karma, people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, we can say that again. It's like, yeah, so if for some strange reason, if it's like, I don't know, three, so like, I guess what, 12 years in the future, high
yeah.
school, if he brings a girl home, it'll be in reverse. It'll be like, yeah, Brianne, probably put on a random cap, put that mess backwards and take her to the room with the shotgun. Like, yep. So.
It will be me. I'll be like, if you mess with his feelings, if you hurt him, if you cheat on him, if you met, like, I will come for you. I will cut you. Like, that's what I'll say. Karma. You know what though? My ripple effect in this planet used to be really bad. Like, I'd hurt somebody and they went and hurt somebody, but now my ripple effect, I'm like trying to help people. So if I can help one person not go out and hurt somebody else, then I've done my job. And hopefully I do that with my son.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will. You have the tools, you got the awareness now, so you should be A-okay. You should be
Thanks.
A-okay indeed. Both you and your husband, you'll both be A-okay.
Thanks.
That's right. Yes, indeed. So, in speaking of service, since both you and your husband are about service, a fun question I've been dropping on guests, and that is, if your book was a food item, what would it be and why?
A food item? Roxanne loves food items. So it's like nourishing. It's a little nourishing. Well, it's a lot nourishing. You get like 10 rules that you can live by that will help you. It's like a self-help book a lot. But then it also is very entertaining and like spicy. It's very spicy. So what food would that be? I would think it would be something like, nourishing. Oh God, I don't know, like a spicy jalapeno taco situation. I don't know, but it like it's a ride, but it also nourishes your soul.
Ah, okay. There we go. So giant tacos. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, and read. Giant tacos indeed. It's spicy. It's entertaining. And on
Yes.
Tuesdays, folks love them, especially.
Mhm. Yep.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest
Ooh.
gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would say just be. Just be. Just stop trying to be somebody else. Stop trying to wear a mask on top of a mask on top of a mask. Like, I am worthy of love and can love, and I'm good just as I am. So I would try to say just be, like, you're okay. You don't need to like become something else, accomplish something else. Anything on the outside is not going to fix the inside. No matter how much money, what job you have, the partner you're with, nobody is going to fix you except yourself. There's no soulmate out there. You are your own fucking soulmate. So there you go.
Oh, well, that's the one liner. You are your own fucking soulmate.
Yep. Yep. That's Roxanne's. You haven't gotten to that chapter yet. Just wait.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Sweet. So, for those who want to keep in contact with you and find out all about the good stuff that is the wonderful Brianne and all the stuff that you got coming out in the future, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Well, if you have any questions about sex and love addiction or the book or anything, please reach out at the Brianne Davis on Instagram. I try to answer all my DMs and send people in the right direction for information. If you want to listen to Secret Life podcast, it's everywhere you can listen to podcasts. And if you want to just get a book, it's at secretlifenovel.com. All my articles, the other books coming out, the audiobook, or you can go to Amazon and get Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. It's the longest title ever, so you can't miss it. So write Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. But yeah, hit me up if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoy the gnarly ride. It's fun.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Fun on all the buns. That's right. That's right. There will be wheelchairs involved too, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right.
There is a wheelchair. Good times.
Oh, man. So there you have it, folks. Head over to the Brianne Davis. Head over on IG. Slide into her DMs asking, like, hey, we're going to get some information about this or that. Or, hey, your book's freaking awesome. Hey, your show's freaking awesome. Hey, loved you on that wonderful show. Loved you in the movie. Loved you in your future movies and all that wonderful smooth jazz. And subscribe to her newsletter as well. So that way, when the next book comes out, you'll be one of the first to know, folks. You'll be first in line. Definitely, indeed, indeed, and triple indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Brienne?
No, but thank you for letting me come on and share, about sex and love addiction and the book, because I really wrote it to help people and so they understand the disease. So I appreciate you having me on, truly.
How's it going, my friend? I'm so glad you made it to the end. That shows that you are an uncommon finisher, and I am so grateful for you sharing your ears, your attention, and your time to this wonderful podcast to do something that'll take yourself to the next level. And for everybody else involved in this wonderful program, share it with at least 3 people in your network so that way more folks can not only catch the fire that is on this podcast, but can also be inspired to be their best. Advance others to advance yourself.